y'all. Welcome back to Knitting in Our Jeans.
Yes.
I'm Liz.
I'm Carolyn.
And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Toolizzforyou, Toolizzforyou.
And I'm cpredmor on Ravelry. On Instagram, I am posting as Knitting in Our Jeans. And I actually have a picture that I was planning to post probably later today of our propeller.
I was gonna say maybe wait
in
till
place.
I was gonna say maybe wait till a little bit later in the week. We're gonna do a 1 minute just general update of what is going on in the world. There are protests happening throughout the country due to the George Floyd murder. I have not been Floyd. Sorry, damn it. George Floyd murder in Minneapolis. If you are going to the protests, please be safe.
Yes.
Remember to
on
bring
multiple issues. I mean, let's face it, there's pandemic COVID going on.
There have been many little infographics, so make sure you wear layers depending on the climate that you're in. Make sure that it's generally nondescript clothing. It's helpful. Make sure you have a mask. We are still in a pandemic. And also make sure you have water and probably a water bottle with a straw. There have been reports, and I have seen the videos of tear gas being used. If you can carry milk in your backpack or on your person to use in those situations, I have read that is the best way.
I don't know whether it works.
Help.
I personally have no experience.
I do not either. And bring snacks, because low blood sugar and passing out from that is no good either. We here in this house believe that Black Lives Matter. And
all lives matter.
Black lives
all.
That is a problematic statement, Mother.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think listen, I had Muslim students who were afraid to come to class, and I said, I don't care what anybody else says, but you're certainly welcome to come into my classes.
So, Black Lives Matter. Muslims are important. Trans lives are valid. Everyone is welcome here.
Yes.
If you need help maybe if you're in our areas and you get involved in something, reach out to us on the Instagram.
She's watching.
I usually watch it a bit more, and we'll see if we can help. If it's, say, provide someone with a bathroom or pass you some milk if that's what you need. Just be careful. We are in the middle of a pandemic still, but Black lives frickin' matter, and this is not a time to forget that, nor to ignore it, nor to say that we should all just get back to our knitting, because that time has passed.
We are more than that.
Lives are more important than knitting. And I wanted to say that up front. I did not tell Mom I was going to do this. This was kind of one of those things that I felt just needed to be said, and I knew she would back me up. But be safe. I personally am reviewing my finances. I can't donate to any of the recommended places just yet. But when my finances work out, probably later this week, I will be. Look into your individual funds. There is a Black Lives Matter fund. There's a Minneapolis Freedom Fund. There's the George Floyd GoFundMe that was started by a cousin of his or a relative of his, as well as one for Ahmaud Arbery's family. This is
difficult.
This is part of our new normal. We need to speak up.
It shouldn't have to be this way,
but it is. And
our bishop today, our presiding bishop, we're Episcopalians, and our bishop today was saying, he's exactly my age, and he was saying that when his dad was an Episcopal priest in Buffalo, he can remember that his dad was telling him, if you're driving and you get stopped by a policeman, you do whatever the policeman says. He said there were riots when he was a teenager and his father was co-opted into the city government in order to have training sessions of, how...
sensitivity for the police, specifically in Buffalo, where he was raised.
At age 67, it would be nice to have believed and to have found it to be true that we didn't have to do that anymore, that it would have passed into normal usage, that everybody had equal opportunities under the law, everybody had equal liberties, equal justice. And it's sad, very sad that, you know, you can go back 45 years and we're still saying the same things.
So, as we said, if you are going, please go, be safe. And if you can donate to the different funds, if you check out my Instagram in my stories, I've been posting in the stories different pages that have been listing the different funds that
that's the Toolizzforyou.
That's Toolizzforyou. You can find it down in the down bar. But also listen to those of us those in the community who are more educated on this than I am, or that we are.
Right.
I mean, Lady Di Yarns is extremely giving of her time and of her educational resources. I know Creative Ceci is also very giving in her social media. Gigi Made It is being extremely vulnerable right now. I swear, if you go into these people's DMs and you say, I need help me.
Oh, they'll reach out.
They might not reach out right now. Do your research on your own, because it is not on them to further your education.
Oh, no, I'm not speaking about education.
No.
If you've got a problem,
right,
they will help.
But I'm saying if you're still trying to process what's going on, and you would like them to lead you to enlightenment, back off.
Yeah, they will say that the message is out there and the information is out there, and do your research.
Educate yourself.
Right.
I personally, I listened to a few months ago White Fragility, which was really moving. I do want to get a physical copy of it because I would like to reread it and highlight it. And there are a few other books. We'll link to the posts. I'll try and find the posts and we'll link them below of different documents and books that have been extremely well reviewed and well received for all in this anti-racism kind of movement that we're now in. And if you don't like that, I'm sorry. This is who we are, and I felt it needed to be said because we do have a podcast. We do have some sort of audience, and I can't sit here and not address that.
Rich and I have been donating to hunger, to funds for hunger.
And children.
So we're tapped out this month.
Which is perfectly acceptable.
But so that's what we've been doing. There have been the Robin Hood Fund, and I want to call them Boomtown Rats, but that's not it.
Dropkick Murphys had a show on Friday where they were raising funds for a conglomeration of charities, specifically in Boston. So it was Habitat. It was oh my gosh, I even forgot, but that was another thing Mom gave too. Mama did.
And then there've been a couple others. So
again,
there's
as you can, if
there.
I just felt this needed to be said because we do have an audience. Yes, I know. I couldn't, with a good conscience, just talk about what we've been making without acknowledging the fact that a lot of our community is in turmoil and is hurting.
And in danger.
And is in danger. And if you're able to go out to the protests, again, be safe. Wear your damn mask. It is still a freaking pandemic out there.
And I think that's important to remember, too.
And there are I've seen a lot of flyers about the different protests, and they all say in very large writing, wear a mask and bring extras. Because we are still fighting a pandemic. And unfortunately, a pandemic that is affecting our Black and brown communities significantly more.
Yes.
So now we can get back to our regularly scheduled programming, but this is the new normal. Let's get ready, y'all.
I don't think it's a new normal.
Buckle up.
We haven't yet hit the new normal.
No.
It's all changed.
We're not going back to a normal. I said that to Dad. I thought he was going to be like real upset with me.
Yeah.
he keeps saying, we're going back to normal. And I said to him yesterday, because I was not awake when he said this to me, but he goes, we're going back to normal. I said, there is no normal. We have not defined the new normal yet.
Exactly.
And he just looked at me like,
I know. He doesn't take change.
I know he doesn't, but that's okay. We're leading him in the change direction.
Show what I did.
So Mom has been wonderful and has been...
And I know I look like I've been drugged to a knothole, but we went out and we were working on the boat this afternoon for several hours.
You did. You were there for like 4 hours.
Yes. So this is what wind, salt water air does to me. Anyway.
So Mom has been top stitching the neckline of my Ogden Cami, and she also did the strap. It looks so good. Thank you so much, Mommy.
You're welcome.
It's going to be great. And also, that one doesn't matter because that's the back.
Right.
That doesn't matter.
I know, it's the back.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
That part, I can at least find the back.
Well, I had to do some fussy cutting, so I'm glad I put that there so I would know which was the back, because the back and the front are essentially the same.
Right, okay.
So the back neckline has been top stitched by my mom, and she's working on the rest of it because she loves me and is much better at all this fine handiwork than I am.
And I'm doing it by hand. Yes. I'm using Metler. This is Metler thread. I decided not to use the silk thread that I had bought from Britex Fabrics. Why? Because I didn't think this was silk.
I think it's some sort of...
I think it's some poly...
Yeah,
blend.
poly satin something,
Yeah, so I'm saving the silk thread, although I thought about using the silk thread just to see how it would behave. The Metler is doing really well. It's not tangling. It's not knotting where I don't want it to knot. It's knotting where I do want it to knot. It's really behaving well, and I'm so pleased. So that was an excellent purchase on my part for hand sewing. And we have been going to church online.
Yes.
So I actually did a great portion of this while watching the church service this morning from the Washington National Cathedral.
Because now we're doing dual church services in this house.
Because we're not interactive with Washington National. So I can have a light on. And I can't, in our living room, have a light on doing Zoom in our church service. I can knit, because I can knit by feel, but I can't sew by feel.
No.
So, our church service, which we are heavily involved with, because we're part of the choir.
And we are readers.
But choir is every week.
Yes.
Whereas reading is once in a trimester,
something like that.
Quarter. And that's interactive, so it's on Zoom. Whereas the Washington National is on YouTube. So there's a difference. In the level of how other people see us during the service.
True.
Yes. So I couldn't leave the light on by my shoulder during our church service to work on this because it gave a flare into the camera for the Zoom. So I did this in an hour and a half. So really, if you sat down and took a little bit of time, you really could get it done. And the reason I'm suggesting hand sewing for this kind of top is that it is so slippery. And I am trying to do it very, very close to the edge, which I think gives a nice definition.
It does.
It would go right down the throat of the machine, and it would be covered in machine grease.
Yes,
this is the voice of experience. I have done that far too many times.
Yeah.
So
I think this will make a lovely romp around the house PJ
top. I think it'll be very pretty.
Yes. I could wear it to a formal event. I don't think this could be an everyday top under a blazer or something. I think it would have to be a little bit more.
If you had a shirt, this could be the camisole under the shirt.
Okay.
Like if your shirt was here and then this was up here.
Like a gray or something,
A blazer, that would work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So anyway, yes, I had suggested the hand sewing and then we actually got it done. I am winding a ball of yarn.
From Hedgehog
Fibers. That is going into my test net Yes, it's called Descending Contours. We had a little problem this week, which I wrote to the designer and saying, I think there's a miscount with the stitch markers.
Mm-hmm.
So I followed along valiantly and I separated for the sleeves, took off the stitches for the sleeves, and then it went to hell in a handbasket. So I did another 8 rows, as one does, just to say, well, maybe it'll sort itself out.
Maybe.
It didn't. It got worse. So I frogged it back to where I took off the sleeves.
Okay.
And because they were already on waist yarn, I wasn't going to put them back on. And I had been fine up until that point. So, and then I wrote the designer and said, do you think you can come up with a diagram with your stitch markers numbered? Because I'm having a problem once I got to the sleeve separation. So she wrote back to me. She's responding back in about 24 hours.
Okay.
Okay. So this
gives you time to work on something else.
Exactly. So she got back to me and she asked a few questions. I responded back with answers and my own answer of, I think what you're trying to have us do is to do all the increases at the center front and center back and all the decreases under the arm and the underarm.
Mm.
And I said, and that's the way I'm going to work this because, you know, she never, or up until this point, she's never numbered saying this is going to be stitch marker 1.
Or A,
or 2, or B, or C, or anything else. And suddenly...
Or this is an increase marker,
I
this
want
is a
you
decrease
to
marker.
remove markers 2 and 4. And I went, oh my God, well at this point, 4 was my center back. And I removed it.
Oh,
and then several rows later, I realized that's not what she means. Because you start out the pattern, and I'll show it to you in just a minute. You start at the pattern, and you have 4 stitch markers. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4.
So she's modifying this so that the numbering is consistent?
I think I've explained a little bit better that when you take the sleeves off, your 2 side stitch markers have gone. So now 2 and 4 are gone.
Right. So, and if she wants you to keep those, she needs to state.
But you've added 2 more in.
Oh.
So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 takes me to the back center.
Right.
5, 6.
But 6 was previously 4.
Yes.
So she just needs
to clarify
or to say yes, okay. It's like when I had the issues with the increase the short rows and
to really put forth I think if you put forth the concept of where you intend your increases and decreases to go, such as all increases are done centered around the center back and center front. So no matter what is actually written in the instructions, you can figure this out.
But also, this is why you test knit. Or why you have a test knit.
Absolutely. To make sure that you're taking what you think is clear as glass and maybe clear as mud to somebody else. Because she mentioned in her note to me, yes, I know that we've taken away 2 and we've added 4. Well, that messes up your count.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said, maybe a diagram of what you're looking for would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Because I've already realized that, where the increases go and where the decreases go. That's fine. So, without further ado, let me show you how far I got.
Yes. Oh, you've gotten so far.
So, whoa, this thing's...
Our test knits kind of match. We both have separated for the sleeves.
We both have separated for the sleeves. So, here are my sleeves. I had another inch done when I realized all hell was breaking loose here. So, and the way this pattern goes is it's got a dippy hem in the front and back.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Okay.
And then...
a dippy hem.
Well, you know what I mean. But at least the front and the back match, which is nice.
Which is different from your
sugar maple.
Which
I had to modify.
Yes.
I'm still not happy with the way I modified it. It's got a little bubble in the whole thing. But I think that's from the hem. If I had another way of doing the hem that drew it in less, that would work. Anyway, so I've gotten from nothing to here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't even have the pattern last week.
That's what I thought. So I have done pretty well. I'm really excited about
this. And as you can see, she chose the red.
Yes, I did. Well, the other was lighter.
Yeah.
And so I wanted something that was a little thicker. And I have a fingering up there that on Bounce and Stomp. That is a bright red.
Yes,
that we
you have the Amelia.
A different kind of pattern to do. This is going to be different than that
the
botanical
one. Yeah.
Botanical pullover that I've got. Because these because of the decreases at the side, these things are going to converge.
Okay.
So they're going at an angle.
Right.
Whereas the botanical is straight up and down.
Right.
So it really does have a different feel.
Okay.
So this has really gotten quite a life. It is worsted. It's knitting up really nicely.
I'm knitting in a DK though.
Well, I think it's a worsted.
I think it's a DK.
All right. Well, if it's a DK, it's a DK. Does it say?
Yes, Merino DK.
Sorry. Anyway, it's knitting up really fast.
It is.
And I'm really
impressed.
Pleased. I'd like to get further down the body, maybe about 4 inches or so down the body, and then do the sleeves.
You have more fortitude than I do. I separated for the sleeves, and I did that row, and then I didn't have the pattern when I was at the apartment, so I came back here, and I decided to cast on at the sleeves first. So you'll see my test knit. The yoke is complete, and I now have the sleeves going, which is a bit slow going. I'm not looking forward to it.
Are they patterned too?
They're patterned right before the cuff. So
okay, so then
I can just power through once I decide to power through.
Right.
I tried to power through so I wound the yarn yesterday, and I've tried to power through since then, and it hasn't worked yet.
I'm sorry.
Instead, I cast on something new.
You did! You dogged you!
She didn't even know.
I didn't.
So, remember when we were talking about
you
the
were going to have
short?
So many whips going on.
Do you remember when we were talking about the butt shorts?
Yes.
So I cast on the butt shorts. So this is the waistband. This is the exterior of it, and this is the interior of it.
One wild woman.
I am. I couldn't. So I have to make the exterior waistband match the interior waistband. I made it 10 rows long, which is 2 rows more than it suggested, and probably about a ½ inch longer than it also suggested, but I wanted to make sure I had a sturdy waistband. The waistband as written is 1 1/4 inches, so I think 1.5 inches or 1 3 3/4 is probably better for me. I like to have a solid waistband on any pants I have.
Because you want the pants to stay up.
Well, yes. So I've also decided to go with the 27, because if this stretches out, I still want it to feel comfortable and not super baggy.
Yes.
So we're going to finish the waistband, and we're going to do a little bit further, I think. I'll get to a little bit further than that, and then I'm going to try it on. I'm going to make sure that it fits. It does say that it will fit, but I still have some concerns. Because there's the 27 and then the 33. And as Mom and I were talking earlier, before we pressed record, my waist is now a 32. So I just want to make, and being that I would prefer to have negative E's, especially since I would rather wear these a few times, like around the apartment, before having to throw them in the washer and dryer again. That's why I went down a size. Also because, I ended up going up to a 7 versus the 6 stated in the pattern, because my swatch on the 6 wasn't, I had to fully stretch it out in order to hit the 4 inches. But with the 7, I know I can hit it with only minimal stretching. So we'll see. I don't know.
Okay.
We're gonna just try it on. I'm going with it. It's what we're doing right now. Because that's how it is right now.
Okay.
But those are the Buttshorts by Jessie Maed. Jessie
She has a new
Maed,
top out.
I was just about to say, has the summer crop top MCal, I think. I don't think it's actually an MCal because we know what it looks like. But
it's a cow.
It's a cow. And it's free. She is asking people, instead of paying for the pattern, to donate. You can see on the project page where she is suggesting to donate to. It goes along with what we were discussing earlier. I haven't decided if I'm going to join in on that, but I might. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. So I said about my test knit. You said about your test knit. I also have gotten, so if I can pull this around so you all can see, that teal stitch marker is 10 inches. I have to get to 12 inches.
That was my question.
So I think I've got maybe a 3/4 of an inch, maybe, above that.
Yes.
So I can do this. I think,
of course you can.
So I've been doing 2 stripes, so one main color stripe and one contrast stripe a day. And if I've missed a day, I make it up the next day, or I try and make it up by Friday, or whenever I get here, and then I just knit on it until I hit that point. Which is what I did Saturday, I think. Because I missed a day and I hadn't realized it. I think it was because I was trying to get the test knit done. Or to the point where I got the second part.
I left my heart downstairs.
Oh, well, we'll talk about it next week.
Time.
Yeah. So this is coming along really beautifully. I think it's going to be really, really nice. Once I hit 12 inches, I think I'm going to put a second cord on it, and I'm going to try it on.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Just to make sure I like the length. Where it is, so I don't, to determine whether I have to add any more length. I did add my second skein of the main color, which is this gray purple. But yeah, this is the Vellichor, as I've said, by Andrea Mpowry. Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
I'm finding it way more soothing than I did when I first started it.
Well, yeah, I think you can see the pattern.
Yeah.
And it's a great pattern.
It is.
I love the way it's knitting up. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would really like doing it in probably one, depending on how mine fits, and you could probably try mine on. I think you'd really like it for the boat. I think it'd be really nice, because it's got short sleeve. It's got little, like, it kind of, like, drop sleeves with maybe little
something
edges.
That you wear out to dinner.
Exactly.
Because on the boat, I wear long sleeves. That's what this is.
Because we do not want to get sunburned.
Right.
Because we are Snow White.
And I put on suntan lotion. And I
think
you can tell that I did today. But I don't like to put on a whole bunch, because then I'm sticky all day, and it really feels awful when you're sailing. So I prefer to go with long pants and long sleeves. As long as there's a little bit of a breeze blowing, I'm doing pretty well. Yeah. So that works
Which is
out.
Also why you've heard us in the past speak about UPF clothing, which also would be good if you are looking to protest. Keep those arms and legs covered, and sunscreen covered. Yes. Remember your sunscreen, y'all. It's starting to get in that time. But UPF is UVA, UVB protective fabrics. Which means that they block the UVA and UVB rays. It all depends on the type of fabric, so you do have to do your research a little bit. I have some from Columbia, the outdoors company that I wear on the boat typically, and I've got leggings that I've made from UPF fabric from Mood.
Right. So yes, if you're making things, you can buy the fabric online and have it delivered to you. And if not, look.
REI. West Marine.
I have no idea about West Marine.
But REI definitely has it. Obviously,
I ordered gloves from them. I haven't seen them, so.
Oh, okay.
They may be
jammed up and everything.
Jammed up. One of the company that I ordered my embroidery hoops from is jammed up. The email from them says they're working, but they're obviously not working at capacity, right? At the same kind of hours and the same number of people as they were before. So their orders are going out slower. And I said, okay, so I ordered a few embroidery hoops from somebody else. So we'll see who gets here.
Well, considering you're getting into it more, having more rather than less is always better.
Yes, absolutely. Because just like you've got or just like I have sweaters on the needle, I could see having embroidery things in a hoop. Speaking of which, I'm in an eBay auction for one now. Oh my God,
of course you are. She didn't tell me this before I came over, y'all. Do you want to share them? Do you want to share
that today? So it is underwater fish. They're like the picture Dad took. So I thought that would be cute.
You would.
Yes.
It would. Do you want to tell the people about your other online purchase that was a little bit of a, oh my goodness?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So this week, I get a text message from my mother saying, you know those chicken thighs I had ordered?
Oh, yes! Remember D'Artagnan, the meat company that I had gotten the lamb from, and we had gotten bison meat because Richard tells me I should be cooking lower cholesterol beef for him because whatever. Meanwhile, I've had high cholesterol for 40 years, but we were not going into that. So anyway, I ordered some bison from them. We ordered the sausage. We went into this ad infinitum last week. I ordered chicken from them. They emailed me and said, we've got boneless, skinless chicken thighs coming in. Do you want any? I went, yeah. So I ordered a parcel of them. I don't know. It's something like 12 packs or 4 packs of 3 each.
Okay. You had said you had 6 packs.
I have 6 chickens downstairs.
Oh.
So
that's what happened.
I got an email saying it's being transported, and it was chicken thighs that were coming. I went, great. The box came, and it's a big box because it's refrigerated. And I've got
it's insulated for...
I've got whole chickens. They're 3 to 4 pound whole chickens. And they're delicious.
They're very good.
But that's not what I ordered. So at this point, I'm going, oh my God, wait till Richard comes in from wherever he's gone. He's been running errands. He's been the one who's been running errands, which is really sweet. So he had gone out to run some kind of errand. And I went, I have got to check on this. So I went through my email, and sure enough, it said I ordered chicken thighs. So I called the company. And I said, I have a problem. I ordered chicken thighs, and they did not come. What came were whole chickens. And they're fresh. They're not frozen. So I don't think I can send them back to you. They'll be rotten. And the man said, let me check on that. So we found the order number, and we looked it up, and he goes, yep, you ordered chicken thighs. There was a mistake at the warehouse. A delicious mistake for you because you get to keep the chickens, and we're sending you chicken thighs. I went, okay. So we've eaten 2 out of the 6 chickens I got. I don't even know how I got 6 chickens. I don't know how they picked that number. I really don't.
I think you got someone else's order by accident.
Well, I called them at least.
You did. You let them know.
I called them the day it arrived. Right. I didn't even wait.
Yes.
And they are Green Farm.
I haven't looked at them.
They're
that closely.
They're some kind of organic chicken. It's delicious.
They're delicious.
They're absolutely delicious. So they arrived in good shape. And so now I'm getting chicken thighs and 6 chickens for the price of chicken thighs.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a sale, but it sure ended up being a sale for me.
Being up that way.
And we had chicken and peaches tonight.
Yes.
Which was chicken with 2 cans of the low-calorie peaches. Mm-hmm. It was a half a cup of water with brown sugar in it. And wine. Yes, Pindar wine. I'm supporting local business.
I was going to say, when you feel the need to reorder, we should look up another winery and just spread the wealth.
We could, except that Pindar was delivering.
You did. I'm just saying they all might be delivering at this
point.
By
now, yes.
Yeah.
Pindar had put out a note that they would deliver with no delivery charge.
And that was back in March/April when all of this began.
Yes.
But now, who knows?
You never know.
And Dad seems to really, as much as he slightly grumps when I open a bottle of wine, he then is very happy that I've opened the bottle of wine.
We cooked with it, and it was.
Yes.
I thought it was really good.
It was.
I think we decided that the spring wine we liked better than
That's
the
what Dad liked
wine.
better than the summer. Yes.
I need to figure out what we opened first.
I think that was the red blush or something like that.
I think so, and I like that a lot.
Okay. Well,
So
we'll take a look.
Order something like that.
Yes.
So anyway, then you talked about that.
I did. I've talked about my things that I've been working on. I didn't really feel all that motivated to work on my sewing this week. I've been having like low grade migraines. But
anyway, this is one completed section out of 8. So I had done exactly what they said. I had put the coilless safety pins to mark that I
And that is the traveling coat?
The traveling, yes.
Okay.
So I have 7 more to do, and then you do a center section, which includes the collar and the arms. But I thought I was going to do a lot more of this, except then the test knit instructions came. This works up like a charm. Mm-hmm. It goes really fast.
It looks beautiful.
I'm really pleased. This is the Flannel Pajamas by what?
Dragonfly.
So
I don't know if they still carry it because of the new owners.
But I love it.
It's good.
Very neat.
I'm glad I got it for you when I did.
Yes, I am very pleased. I had done nothing in consequence on this, but it's safely in a bag.
Yes.
So it is still top down and joined at the neck.
Nice.
So I haven't lost anything.
And that's your Crazy Stripes?
That is my Crazy Stripes tee. So my goal is to, well, the pajamas is my mission, and I think it will be no question that I'll finish that mission in the next 5 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Or it'll be really close.
You'll get at least the 25%.
But I also think that this thing I'm hoping to finish in a total of 4 weeks.
Well, I mean, it's a DK weight sweater for you. Yeah. And I was talking with a friend of ours, and she was lamenting previously how she feels she's not an efficient knitter. And so I, of course, broke out my pen and paper, and we did some calculations. And it wasn't that she was an inefficient knitter. It's that technically, really, she was knitting almost at the same rate that Mom or I or, most knitters knit at. It's that she wasn't putting the time in every day. So, I mean, you and I knit at about the same rate, generally, if you watch us.
Yes. But
Mom knit, I get distracted by social media or by YouTube or by just...
Well, I watch YouTube, but I knit while I watch.
See, I get distracted by it on my phone. Like, I'll be looking something up, and that'll distract me, and so I'll be holding the phone and not be able to... Yeah. So that distracts me, or
whereas I look at YouTube on my iPad, so my iPad has a stand, and I can sit it on my lap while I knit, which is also how I read while I knit. I read on my iPad, which I understand the joy of holding a book. I swear I do.
Yes.
And when you are, when you're traveling like we did to Antigua,
in January.
In January, you have to make sure you've downloaded all the books that you want to read or have access to the internet so that you can download the books when you finish reading some of them. Whereas if you brought hardbound books,
so paperbacks or hardcovers, but
you would have
paperbacks.
You would have all your books with you.
Right.
Anyway. If you run out of power or you don't have access to the internet, it can be a little traumatic. But if you do, it's a lot easier to pack an iPad than it is to pack all those books.
Yes.
I will say that while I still had, I'm looking over here. Over there is my collection of knitting magazines and books and all kinds of stuff. But I have pretty much stopped buying regular
physical books
because when we moved into this house, we moved 2,000 books. They're really heavy.
And then I moved like 700 of them to my apartment.
And they're really heavy.
They are. And I can see wanting to downsize. I think though I have a very curated, I think, bookshelf because I think I like to reread things.
So do I.
Right, but
and so I belong to the Kindle Unlimited.
Right, and so that's how you're able to do that.
I can read, and I throw them back in, and I've found some authors. I'm really reading up on cozy mysteries now. So it's very typically English, typically 1920s, so in between World War I, World War II, sometimes before World War I. There's one with Lady Hardcastle that is before World War I. She had been in the Secret Service.
I feel like when you're speaking of ladies of England of that time, you need to have a proper face of...
Well, her husband was a diplomat, but she was the spy.
Ah, I love it.
Yes.
And so, like, on Father Brown.
Yes. So,
which I need to finish. I've watched everything that's on Netflix. I have not caught up on, I think it's on BritBox. It's on one of them.
So, anyway, she's very interesting. Unfortunately, her husband was killed at their last posting. And then she and her lady's maid, which really
yes,
companions.
This is the one that made you determine that you needed a lady's maid.
Yes. They then got themselves out of China and across to India, where they were able to get a boat out. Apparently, they were in Shanghai, and it was I can't remember what kind of uprising it was or whose uprising it was, but they couldn't go down to the harbor and get a boat from there because it would have been worth their life. Anyway, she's driving, driving way before many women are. I like the books. They're cute. Are they believable? No. But I'm not reading for believability. I'm reading to be entertained. And I have those on my iPad. So there are some books that I buy. And through Amazon and some of these other outlets, then I will have them forever in the ether.
Right.
Did you see where Craftsy Blueprint is going out of business?
I did not see that. I got an email. Someone texted me about it this week.
I got an email this weekend that Blueprint/Craftsy is going out of business.
Oh my goodness.
I have downloaded all my patterns. They're supposed to be, all my patterns I looked at, most of them are how to make a handbag. So I've got different patterns for different bags because we have some fabric to do a handbag with.
Yes.
I also have classes. I have a class in handbags. I have a class in weaving that they're supposed to get back to me as to how one downloads these classes. Okay. Because that was part of their cachet, was that they were going to always be there. And so you buy a class and it would always be there.
And you can replay them and replay a certain section. And...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I don't know what happened. And as I said, I got that email this weekend.
So, lesson, if you have a Craftsy or a Blueprint account, check on it, download all of your downloadables, and
keep an eye out for what they're going to tell you about your classes.
And we will keep you informed of what we know.
As soon as I hear.
But yeah. PSA.
And then the other thing I did this week is Elizabeth had mentioned parking.
I noticed you've been doing that.
And I decided that while this was fun, it's also easy to get confused. If you just take the one set of threads and try to find wherever it goes, sometimes I might miscount. Mm-hmm. It happens.
Yes.
So what I did was instead, I hope I moved to the right point, but I counted. You can see I actually worked some down the middle. Mm-hmm. So that I would have the right count. So I believe I'm in the right count. I've gone to the far right side, and I want to kind of build up in sections and fill out entire blocks. So this has no needle. I actually have been going across by line, and so all these colors, including this one down here, are what I need to fill in these lines. And then I'll fill in the line going this way once, and then I'll go up and fill in the next line. And I'm finding
So you're doing the parking.
Yes, I'm doing the parking, except when I'm having a little problem.
Well, you only had 2 or 3 needles before a few days ago.
I ordered needles. I ordered some British needles.
You did.
They are really lovely.
Good.
They've got a fairly nice size eye, and they are sharp at the point, so that once you get some of these squares, sometimes you're trying to get through, and there's already 4 threads or 6 threads, or you're trying to pull the 7th and 8th thread through. It can be a little tight, and that's where I find a sharper needle.
Yes.
Much like using sharp knitting needles in lace, I find sharp embroidery needles to help. And the other thing I bought, and I bought a few more of today.
The industrial.
I didn't buy, I got an industrial needle threader, which I don't know how industrial it is, because I could see it pulling out. I've already pulled out my really cheap one.
Well, yeah, that's not hard.
No, but the industrial one doesn't look like it's any.
The one with the stick?
Yeah, I don't know that it's much better glued together. So what I did was I ordered about 50 of these little tiny,
that's fine,
throwaway ones.
Yeah.
Because why waste all that time trying to thread your needle when there's something that will make it easier and you can just kind of speed through threading the needles? Because when I see a mistake, I'm pulling it out much like I do with my knitting. And so it means unthreading your needle, like pulling the apart, pulling the thread in the wrong place, and then rethreading. And I don't really want to be standing there.
Yeah.
I don't usually have a problem, but the days I do, I can't thread anything. So I got some needle threaders. I'm having fun.
Good.
And when the thing about having multiple crafts going is that your hands can get sore, but they're going to get sore in different places. So I've been trying to do about an hour a day on the cross stitch. I'm down in the deep water at this point. So that's why it's
all the dark
greens, I just
blues,
started.
Browns.
There's a blue in here someplace. I just got my first blue in there. That's this. But the rest of it has been that deep bottom of the lake color. But as I move up, it will get lighter. So
nice.
I wanted to, could I have gone out from the center? I could have continued going out from the center. I found it a little confusing because going from the center was going lake to bushes to house. And that's why my colors were kind of jumping all over the place. Anyway, it's the theme for this week. It may not be the theme for next week, but it's what I'm doing now.
Nice.
The boat's moving along.
That's good.
New York, Long Island is opening up to phase 1 tomorrow.
No, they opened up to phase 1 last week.
Something's June 1st.
Well, they opened phase 1 last week.
Okay, well, something's happening June 1st.
Okay.
Because that's when we could get the launch working.
Okay.
Anyway, may have something to do with boat clubs.
I was going to say, or it could be that so if everything opened to phase 1, it was, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, it could be, but people haven't actually been able to institute the measures needed to fulfill the requirements for phase 1.
Anyway,
until
we're
June
still
1st.
Lacking a mast. It's in the boatyard. We had it taken down this winter, which will make it easier to replace the anchor light. So we have a couple lights at the top of the mast that needed to be replaced.
Oh, you mean that I don't have to go up the mast this year?
Exactly.
Great.
So they're being replaced while the mast is horizontal rather than vertical.
I don't have to go up the mast this year, y'all. That's what that means. Well, I don't have to go up the mast for that job. Let's see if Father decides that there's something else I get to do up the mast.
We took winches off earlier this week. Rich cleaned them, and then we put 2 on today. Took off 2 smaller ones. He is cleaning them now. And, yes. And then we will put them back on tomorrow. So I think he found that they were sticky, that there were some things that had dried out. And with
apparently the lubricant gets can rot due to salt air and salt water.
Almost anything rots in salt air and salt water. So anyway, we're repacking them, we're re-greasing them, and reseating them. The other thing we did was we did the final fit of the propellers, flanges, flips, fins.
So we have a foldable propeller. Yes. So the foldable parts, the foldable flanges or fins, we do not know the official term, but I'd say flanges or fins,
are now attached to the boat.
After being painted as suggested last week.
Yesterday. So they are now permanently, they are attached for the year now. So that's done. So we got a lot done. It always takes longer than you think it's going to take because some of these parts are rather recalcitrant about coming out. But we're moving along. So we reattached these 2 winches we took off today. Then the yard has to put the mast on, reattach the boom, and paint the bottom. Paint the bottom, wax the hull.
Yeah, Dad said the mast might not go on until not this coming week, but the week after.
Okay.
But it could get done sooner. My dad is known for being a pessimist, so... or overly cautious, one of the two, however you would like to state it.
And we're picking up our repaired canvases. The canvas is not our sails. The canvas is the protective coverings.
The Bimini and the Dodger?
The Bimini and the Dodger and the sail cover.
Okay.
They are 13 years old and had developed some holes. So we have taken them into the canvas guy. He has repaired them. We are going to pick those up tomorrow. So things are moving along. It's still been chilly here on and off, so it's not like I'm overwrought. And then, but apparently there's going to be a lot of company out on the water because apparently boats have been selling like hotcakes because it's
you can get out on them with your family unit.
Exactly.
And you're social distanced and you
all
know,
of that.
It's a way to get out. It's like, it's how we discussed last week or 2 weeks ago that property prices for houses out, you know, out here on Long Island that are on the LIRR are, you know, going up, whereas the city is dropping due to the fact that there are backyards. And during this time of isolation and quarantine, it has been...
It's a way to get a breath of air.
Very...
Like I've started walking around
Mother
the
has
house.
been surveying the South 40.
Yes, I decided that when I go out and get the paper in the morning, which is somewhere between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning because I just don't sleep late, I have decided to walk around the house and literally march around the house. So far I'm up to almost a half a mile in a session.
You should make sure you have your Wizards Unite open during that so that it counts for that.
That would be
kilometerage.
That's a great idea.
Kilometer meterage.
That's right. So anyway, started doing that. And then we figured out this afternoon that I could also ride my bicycle around the house.
You could?
So you never know. You might see me riding my bicycle if you're out that early in the morning and drive by. But I'm definitely, unless it's pouring rain, going to be taking a jaunt for at least a half a mile around the house. Now, why am I doing this? 1, it would be good to be a little bit more in shape. But 2, because we are recording the songs that the choir sings.
I don't know if we told you all that. But that is a part now of our church service. We have been invited as a choir to join and to record ourselves singing the hymns, the different parts, and that is played. And during Sunday service this week, that was really lovely.
I was amazed because I knew what I sounded like.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed, but
it sounded really great.
It sounded great.
I
have to say that the minimal practice I'm doing is an hour for each of the songs. So the songs that I send to our choir master are about the best I can do. But
and I'm striving for good enough because I've learned I've learned about myself that if I strive for perfection and I'm the only one critiquing myself, that
you're too hard on yourself.
I am too hard on myself, and then I start getting worse.
Well,
so
I said the best I can do.
Right.
So that's not perfection by any means.
We are striving for good enough, and you know what?
It's going to be fun, but
it's going to be
great.
Get to
my point.
Sorry.
My point was I had the choir director and I go to the same physical therapist, both because we're both having trouble with our legs. And he mentioned to me that some of the best things you can do for singing is to run. And I went, well, I'm not running, but I can walk. So I sent him a note saying, okay, in order to get rid of some of the breathiness that I had on this last set of recordings, I've started walking. So you've made me get up off the sofa and
put down the knitting and go walking outside. He sent me, sweet, thanks. But yes, it is sweet. Mind you, he's one of the ones who, when she and Dad go to physical therapy, between the three of them, they start antics with each other because they can't behave. None of them can behave.
No. It's hysterical.
Oh, I bet.
We really have a good time. So anyway, he had said that, that's the best kind of way to warm up your lungs and to really get a good sound. And I figure it will also help with better breathing. So I'll be less breathy on the recording. So I said, but only singing would actually make me get up and think about doing this, because otherwise it's a chore. Now this is something for my singing.
Yes.
So.
Well, that's good.
Yes, it is good. So there's a lot of good things happening. My cross stitch is doing well. And as your father said this afternoon, it's really nice not to have a schedule where you have to get things done because you're going to have to be doing other things during the week. Richard has officially retired. Somebody called him, a patient called him and asked, she had broken a tooth and asked if he could fix it, and he went, no, I can't. He sold the practice to a lovely person who I think would be well suited to take care of the patient who called. And he said, I'm really not going back. It's just not worth it. And the patient understood. She's 2 years older than we are. And she says, yeah, I got it. And she'll go in and see Drew. So,
good.
All in all, pretty good. But we've done pretty well with what the boat's doing. And now everything is going to proceed at a pace that's a little bit more leisurely, which is fine.
And this summer, you know what? If all we do is stay in the harbors, then that's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we can get to Connecticut.
I don't think so either.
And even if we did,
I don't want to possibly
can't get off the boat.
And if we're going to see Marianne, I don't want to possibly bring something to Marianne.
Well, I wouldn't go see her. I would just telephone her from the boat.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I think that's where you and I are at. It'd be lovely to see them, but not right now with the fact that there is still a pandemic going on. I understand we all want to see friends, we want to see family, we want to get back to, as my father said, normal. There is going to be a new normal after all this. We are still in a pandemic, y'all.
And everybody keeps safe.
Because things are being lifted and the economy is trying to be brought back does not mean we are not still dealing with a public health crisis. I want to make sure that you all understand that that's how we feel, or how I specifically feel about this. I got called out by a woman at church again today because she's in the she's on the vestry and she's in the over 65 crowd, and she was like, I said, well, I'm going in and doing this for her, and she said, well, yes, because you won't let me, and I said, no, I won't, and everyone else who was there nodded along with me. So I feel very strongly that we all take very good care of our own selves and each other. The masks are not necessarily to keep you safe. They're to keep everyone else safe from you. You might not have it. I haven't actually interacted with someone outside of my family in 2 weeks. I haven't been to the grocery store in 2 weeks. If I had possibly gotten something from someone, even if I was asymptomatic, I would be clear, but I don't know that for a fact. So when I go out, I wear a mask, because who knows who I could possibly be passing on the street.
Right.
They wear a mask, or who I pass, and they wear a mask to protect me, Mom, you, everyone else. So please, wear your damn mask. This is not over by any stretch of the imagination.
Remember,
there's no vaccine.
I lost my father-in-law to COVID. So it would be, we don't want to lose anybody else.
No. And so this is something I feel very strongly about, with regulations being relaxed. Please be careful. Please wear your masks. And until there's a vaccine or a well-documented treatment that doesn't cause further health conditions,
right,
we really have to stay vigilant.
No heart damage, no, losing a lung,
no liver damage, things like that. I have a very strong opinion about this, just because I have so many people who could be severely affected by this. And so I think that is something that we all need to keep in mind. If you're going to go to the protests, go. But wear your damn mask.
Right.
Wear the mask. It's important because we're still in a pandemic.
Right.
But yeah. Sorry to bring y'all down at the end here, but I've seen way too many people not wearing masks, and it's very upsetting to me.
Which is one of the reasons why I thought walking around the house, which means walking outside in the yard, was a good choice for me, because I don't have to wear a mask.
And it's that early.
Well, yeah, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. But there's nobody else around here. We have a fairly good-sized yard.
Yes.
For where we are. So I'm walking around in my yard. I'm not within 6 feet of anybody. Right. So I can have a nice walk. Mm-hmm. And tomorrow, if I'm up at 6 o'clock, I may leave the yard and walk over to the mailbox.
To mail your ballot?
To mail my ballot.
Yes. If you are registered in New York State, please register to receive if you do not feel comfortable going to the ballots either during early voting, which is the week before, I believe, June 16th, or on June 16th for the, right, June 16th?
I don't know, because I'm doing a mail-away ballot.
Or the mid to late June date, please. You have, I believe, until June 10th or so. Don't quote me on, we will look it up. But go and register to receive your ballot online, or send in a physical request. Mom and Dad didn't have to send in requests. You did?
I did. Yes.
Dad said he didn't.
I know.
I think he's
a special
BSing
person.
us.
No, he didn't get one. You and I got one.
Right, but I think he did it online when we were talking at the dining table.
I don't know. He didn't get anything in the mail. So anyway, I have my absentee ballot. Mm-hmm. I've already filled it out, and I will be marching it over to the post box early tomorrow morning. So I will also have a mask around my neck in case I meet anybody. I just kind of doubt that I will.
That early, probably not. But I did register to get my ballot absentee this past week. So hopefully I will receive that in the next week or two. But yeah, just keep that in mind. That's another way we can
keep yourself safe
and further our feelings.
Well, do your civic duty. I think it's important to vote. I have voted in every election since I've been of the legal age to vote.
You have also yelled at many a poll worker for disenfranchisement.
When the polls are supposed to open at a certain time and they can't get their act together to open at the appointed time, I tend to get a little angry because My commute to my job was an hour and 45 minutes in the morning, and if they're late in opening the polls, it means I was going to be late to class. And if the teacher's not there, there is no class. So yeah, I did get upset because it shouldn't be that way.
So
Get
yeah,
your act together.
So that is what we have this week.
It really seems a little light on the knitting. I'm sorry.
It's just been that kind of week. So be safe, be careful.
And we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
y'all.